On today's episode of Planting Things, we're going to try and repot this Monstera Siltepecana. I'm not sure that that's how you pronounce it. I normally wouldn't repot anything so quickly after getting it. We did buy this weekend, I think, on Sunday, and I would like to have given it a few more days of adjustment, but a lot of its leaves are turning yellow, and I think that's largely due to the fact that it's got roots coming out the bottom, so I think it might be a little bit root bound. So we're gonna open her up today and see how she's doing and just make sure there's no root rot or any other weird funky stuff going on. And then maybe we'll give her a new pot, maybe we'll put it back in, we'll see. So we're just gonna start by kind of gently squeezing this. I typically like to hold right here about where the roots are, just to make sure I don't rip any leaves off, but also while delicately making sure that I don't accidentally pull out the wrong thing. And it definitely looks like she's got some root bound roots going on, as you can kind of see from all of this. I'm gonna see if we can get her repotted. It almost looks like she's got some weird stuff going on under there, like growth and stuff. So maybe if we can get her in a new pot and spread out a little bit, she'll feel a little bit better about her new environment. And I'm gonna go ahead and start by loosening up some of this soil and just making sure that I get as much of this old dirt out as possible while trying to keep the roots somewhat intact and not breaking off too many. Obviously with the repot you'll get a little bit of breakage, which is okay, because I mean with a plant like this, she looks healthy enough, doesn't smell rotten. So I think she'll be okay if I break a little bit of roots, but we're gonna obviously try not to do too much damage because I don't wanna hurt her. And typically when I can't get roots to separate, I give it a little bit of a squish to kind of separate the roots a little bit. I know everybody has their own methods and own processes. I just watered her yesterday, so I don't necessarily wanna soak it in a bowl of water and give it more water and accidentally give it root rot. So we're just gonna work on detangling these roots for a little bit, and then once we get it to a good point, I will eventually try and repot it. So bear with me. Okay, I think I've got it to a good point. I've actually even have a little baby coming off. If I can get it out. That's the real question. Got me a little baby. I'm sure I could pull off more, but I don't want to. She was just already kind of coming out. So, yeah. So now I think I might try to go rinse off some of the roots and then get some of this little excess dirt off. And then I will be right back, and then we'll put her in a pot. All right, I didn't rinse it off too much, just a little bit, just to kind of help untangle things a little bit. And I'm kind of glad that I decided to repot her because, as you might be able to see, she's more root than soil. So I think that'll definitely help. Now I grabbed a couple different pots because I didn't know which one I wanted to use. I wanted to use this one, but she's too big, which great problem to have. So I honestly think I might use this one. Typically it's about 2 inches, 1.5 inches on either side and of the root ball, and that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I don't know if you can see that. She's pretty deep. So I mean, otherwise it was gonna be this pot, and I think it's just too small, and I honestly hate this pot because it's kind of boring. No offense to anybody who likes plain pots, they're just not for me. So we're just gonna use this one instead. I got these for Christmas like 2 years ago and have not used them since. So I guess they're finally getting some use. Some of my plants are finally getting big enough to warrant having those. So we're just gonna come in with a few different mixtures. I like to kind of mix my soil on the go. I use a couple different things. I think the 2 main ones that I use now are like a Miracle Grows indoor outdoor plant mix. And then I add extra perlite to it just to give it a little bit more drainage. And then with some of my plants, like especially the Monsteras that I have, I usually add a little bit of orchid bark to give it, you know, a little bit even more moisture control. Give it that nice chunky mix that they always crave. That's typically all I put in mine. I know other people put in a lot more stuff. I just don't have the means to do a whole lot of that right now. So she gets what she gets. And she dusty. Just throwing that out there. Sometimes when she's really dusty, I spray the soil because I don't like inhaling straight perlite dust, which is pretty much what that is from. And when I'm repotting something from the store, or actually anything, I typically like to take a good amount of the old soil and mix it in, just so that it's not quite as much of a shock to the new soil for the plant to adjust into the new soil. That typically works best for me. I mean, it just kind of depends on your environment. I found that there's no right or wrong answer to soil mix. You just kind of have to go with what works best for your living situation. In our apartment, it does tend to be a little bit drier. We have the ceiling fan going almost all the time, and soon we'll have the AC running. Yeah, I know it's a little early, but our apartment still has the heat on, so you do what you gotta do. So I'm just kind of mixing the soil combination that I have, which is a little bit of the old soil from the store that we got it, and some orchid bark, and I think it's just regular indoor body mix. But at this point, I don't know, because I kind of dumped 2 bags of different brands into the same bucket and forgot which brands are which, but it's fine. So we're just gonna kind of dig into the pot a little bit, make a little bit of a well, and then I'm gonna see how she fits in there, which I think I put a little too much soil in there, which is fine. Just take a little bit more out, take more of a well. I might get this a little bit more damp so that I can fill it up better. I find that if you get it a little bit damp, it kind of retains its shape a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier. I might even take this old pot and just kind of like twist her in there and make room for the new plant. And she fits much better in there now, so I'll go ahead and take some of the soil that I dug out and mix it in with old stuff and just kind of backfill. And then I just kind of spread it around the roots, get her nice and tucked in. Make sure that getting all around the plant and all around its roots, making sure that I get plenty of soil in there, make sure she's happy. And then I kind of tuck as I go, just to make sure that she's really in there and not gonna start leaning on me one way or another. Trying not to bury any of these half-dead leaves. So I need more soil, which is fine because I have my bucket over here. Yeah, so as you can see, she's dusty. We're gonna take my spray bottle and I'm gonna try and minimalize the dust. It makes me cough, so I'm gonna add a little bit. Well, just some more of that. Mix it together. It's totally dry. So as you can kind of see, I already added my perlite into this. We're just gonna, I like to add orchid bark as I go because not all of my plants require orchid bark. So we're gonna put some into the old pot just to have something to mix into. And then we'll add some of this orchid bark And everybody has a recipe. Everybody uses like a specific measurement. I just kind of dump it in there and use my best judgment, and it seems to work out okay. So honestly, people would be like, oh, you don't actually set up measurements? No, I really don't. We're gonna continue backfilling, kind of spread it all around, make sure that she's got plenty of soil mixture, kind of squish her down a little bit just to make sure she's in the pot and not gonna fall out, and give her a good little shake, get all the dirt off the leaves, and there we go. Fully repotted. Hopefully she'll be a little bit happier. We live in a north-facing apartment on the 11th floor of our building, and we do get some light, and it's surprisingly enough. For my plants that like a little bit brighter light, I keep them under grow lights. So we're gonna keep this by the window for now and see how it does. If I need to, I'll put it under a grow light somewhere if I can find a room. But for now, that's pretty much it that I have for today. So hope that helps. Where's your boot?